Yo, 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 it's D Jeff, the Doctor of Sports. Y'all know what it is. Catch me on YouTube. That's DADROFSPORTS, the Doctor of Sports. Yo, look, so we gonna talk a little, excuse me, y'all. We gonna talk a little Morant, okay? So, of course, we all know the story. Few months back, Ja's in the club with a gun. The particulars surrounding that is the fact that he's in a nightclub with a gun, which he can't be. The NBA, he's on the road during a road trip. So the NBA want to know, was the gun on the plane? Was the gun in one of the NBA facilities? Is it his gun? Is it registered? So, of course, the police get involved, so criminal charges could be filed. Comes back, find out the gun not his. The gun was not, in the facility. The gun wasn't on the plane. So, he get time served, 8 games, lose a couple checks. Do an interview with Jalen Rose, talk about he's a changed man, yada, yada, yada. We know that story. Another story about Ja, not with a gun, but having an altercation with a 17-year-old kid at his home. Apparently, it wasn't him with the altercation. If I read correctly, it was a friend of his, but he didn't. I think he was involved somehow. Because the kid threw the basketball at somebody, some crazy bullshit. But that's another incident with Ja. Another incident at the mall where his mom got into it with somebody at the mall. So they call him. She calls him. He comes up there, threatens security. Had a gun that day too, apparently. So that's that. And then there's another incident, if I'm not mistaken, with Ja before this gun incident here. That memory kind of escapes me, but bottom line is there's a track record of bad behavior, not necessarily bad behavior, but just poor decision making with Ja. And Ja is supposed to be one of the faces of the NBA now, and the NBA ain't playing these games. It's my opinion that this last incident the other day with him in the car with his buddy waving the gun, I think it's much to do about nothing. If you are a advocate of gun laws and the right to carry and the right to have your own firearms and that the right to protect yourself, that sort of thing, then him having a gun in the car with his friends singing a song is not an issue. If I was to pull out a gun right now, turn the radio on, start singing, holding up the gun in my hand, I'm not Ja Morant. I don't make $50 million a year. And if my company saw that, I am about 99% sure that I wouldn't get reprimanded for that, because I haven't broken any laws. NBA is its own entity. They can make up their own rules, their own laws. They don't have to follow the laws of the NRA or the government, and, the Second Amendment or whatever amendment it is to the right to carry arms, the right to bear arms. But when you have a track record, sort of like Draymond Green getting suspended for stomping on Sabonis, it's the history. The history is what gets you in trouble. If this Ja Morant's first offense, then it's much to do about nothing. We forget that 4, 5, 6 months ago, he was accused of being in a car with buddies, pointing a red laser at Indiana Pacer employees, and people thought that might have been a gun with a laser on it. I said all that to say, although he is suspended by the Memphis Grizzlies for team activities which they're not really in much team activities right now, but I'm sure they're doing something, but he can't participate. I don't believe Ja should be reprimanded for what he did the other day. Everybody's saying Ja hasn't changed. Well, this behavior is a little different than the previous behaviors with the kid, with the Indiana Pacers, with the mall and the security. It's almost the same as being at the nightclub, but the difference between the nightclub and him being in the car is that it's the off season, for one. For two, there's no doubt that that gun hasn't reached any NBA facility. And, you know, of course, we still don't know if it's his, but there's nothing criminal. So no charges, no cops are going to even investigate this because there's nothing to investigate. As opposed to when he got in trouble for being at the nightclub, there was plenty to investigate, which in terms violates the personal code of conduct policy with the NBA. But let's be real. Why are we really mad at Ja? I've called him stupid, dumb, saying what he's done is, you know, just horrendous and just poor judgments. Just doesn't make sense to be this known on this level in the NBA, making as much money as he make, about to cash in on another contract, and doing the stupid stuff that he does. It just doesn't make sense. But at the same time, is that why we're mad at him? Because average Joes like us, like me, work a regular 9 to 5. You know, I make decent money. I've been in the healthcare profession my whole life, basically 22 years. I make okay money. You know, I'm middle class. I ain't rich. I ain't got, you know, no whole lot of savings and shit like that. But is that why we're mad at Ja? Because of somebody who's making millions, a young man, young black man at that, and he's basically perpetrating a narrative, perpetuating a narrative that America already has on black people, young black people. I think it's just silly. It's stupid for him to do what he's doing, for him to do what he did, but it's not criminal. And yes, Memphis and the NBA has every right to do whatever it is they want to do with Ja, because that's who he works for. But I don't think it's fair. I'm not gonna take up for Ja because, like I said, it's not smart. But this situation is 10 times different, totally different than his previous situation. He's in the car with his buddy, having a good time. Do the gun need to be there? Hell no, it don't need to be there. Everybody know that. Let's just take that out of the equation. It doesn't make sense for him to do what he did, but he did it, and he's with his friend. In the car, not pointed at nobody, just singing, having a good time. But this is an issue because of his past, because of what he recently did. But the situations are totally different. You know, I don't know. I'm not against carrying guns. I don't own a gun. Never have. But I'm not against it. It's something I thought about doing, something I thought about getting. Going to the gun range. I hear a lot of my friends talk about gun ranges and they're fun. And, you know, my man Carmichael, I know he a big gun guy. So if you watch this, Carmichael, shout out to you, my boy. I know you're a big gun guy. So I'm not against any of that. But what I'm against is black men getting punished for doing shit when they didn't do shit. You get what I'm saying? He didn't do shit. Yeah, he was in trouble before because of the potential, because of what he could have done, what people thought he may have done, the gun in the facility and whatnot, on the road during the season. But it's the off season, so this man can't live life. this man can't get on Instagram and do his thing because he a millionaire because he Ja Morant. So yeah, not taking up for him. I just don't think it's as big as, you know, everybody making it. This man's probably gonna get a half a season suspension, double-digit games, 15, 20 games for personal conduct. That's what they're gonna throw at him, personal conduct. Being in the car with your friend having a gun, that's violating personal conduct. I call bullshit. So, you know, it is what it is. I just wanted to give my 2 cents on Ja Morant. I'm a big fan of Ja. I was one who said they should take, New Orleans should take him over, you know, Zion. I loved him in college. I like him at Memphis. I do believe what he's doing is real juvenile, immature, but it's not criminal. So I'm not going to blame his parents. I'm not going to blame the people he hang with because he's a 23-year-old man. Yeah, my boy P. Shout out to my boy Perry Johns. He always tell me, you know, he told me 23, you really ain't that old. You really ain't that mature, especially with men. But when you've already been in this situation with a gun and you got in trouble for it, the smart thing to do is to just put the gun down. So Ja, put the gun down, bro. Doctor of Sports, over and out. See you later, my guy.